watching this video on student retention strategies. My name is Mike Garcia. I am the marketing manager here at iMatrix. I wanted to go ahead and, before I introduce our guest presenter, I wanted to go ahead and go over a couple house cleaning items for you. This webinar will be recorded, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask away. We'll go ahead and get towards those towards the end, or give us a call at the last slide of the deck. It'll have a 1-800 number that you can go ahead and give us a call on. We'll feel free to go ahead and give you a one-on-one consultation to answer any kind of questions or difficulties that you might have. And again, we'll also have this recording sent out to anyone that has registered for the webinar and didn't get a chance to attend, or maybe attended later. We'll go ahead and send an email out with that recording, as well as having it on our YouTube channel, iMatrix.com. You'll see a YouTube icon at the top right, and go ahead and click on that. We have a whole list of all of our previous webinars, including this one, which will be up there shortly after. So I want to go ahead and introduce our guest presenter, which I'm very honored to introduce, Trionne Barnett. Feel free to go ahead and introduce yourself. Thank you again for helping us out with this, and I'm very excited to see what we got going on here.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Trionne Barnett, and I'm an integrative yoga therapist, and I'm so happy to be here today to share some thoughts and strategies about student retention and reputation management in your yoga studio. And I've been teaching yoga since 2008 in Dallas, Texas, and just this year I went full-time with teaching yoga. In the past, I had a part-time job, probably like many of you, and now have gone full-time. So I certainly understand the importance of retaining students and building a reputation in the community for my yoga studio. In today's webinar, we're going to cover the things that you can do to improve your student retention rate. There's a variety of steps that you can take to build a strong relationship with your students and keep them coming back to your studio. This webinar will be divided into two sections. The first section is student retention strategies, and here we'll talk about sharing educational content, using email to stay in touch, connecting on social media, and loyalty programs. And the second part of this webinar will include reputation management tips, where we'll discuss claiming your review pages, how to respond to reviews, getting tips, how do I get that great review? And then if you get a negative review, how do you turn that review into a positive one? But let's start off with an interesting statistic. Did you know that it costs us 5 to 7 times more to get a new student than it does to retain an existing one? And so this is one of the reasons why it's so incredibly important to keep the students that come in your door. We want to retain those existing students. And it makes sense. If you think about it, you have a student, and they begin practicing with you, and they've been with you for a long time, maybe a year or two. They're staying around for a reason. They're finding great value in what it is that you're offering, and they're benefiting greatly. And those that benefit from your program are likely to share what they're experiencing with others. A happy student is one that will share with family and friends. And let me tell you, that's the best advertising you can get is personal referrals from existing clients. And let me give you an example of that. I was recently invited to a Christmas party from one of my students. And while I was at the party, I was introduced to several of her friends and family, and at least 10 people said, "Oh, wow, you're the yoga teacher. She talks about you all the time. She absolutely loves your class." And so I'm standing there ready with a pocket full of business cards so I can hand them out and direct them to my website, because I certainly can't sell them on yoga at that party, but I can direct them to my website and start a relationship with these folks. Most of them have been thinking about yoga for a long time, and usually that existing student is trying to get someone to join your class. And so it's just another opportunity to get in front of them, get them to go to your website, where you can work on retaining them as a satisfied customer. So personal referrals from your current clients are really inexpensive and important. So once we have these students, we've got them coming in the door, right? We want to make sure that we do what we can to retain them and make sure that they're happy. Did you know that over half of students that come into your studio, they might come into your studio and leave because they don't get good customer service? Have you ever walked into a yoga studio and you love the studio. You love the studio, you love the teacher, but there's absolutely no follow-up and you don't feel like you belong or you're part of a group or a community. And so that might be one of the reasons why you leave that studio, right? So we want to make sure that we provide really good customer service to the students that come into our studios. Also, we know that when we go into a studio and there is follow-up, they do reach out to us, they get back to us, we're likely to go back and share it with friends. So let's talk about the second slide here, student retention strategies. Sharing educational content is one way that we can keep students involved in what we're doing and involved in the practice. So sharing educational content, a major way is keeping them informed. We share educational content that not only educates potential students, but it also gives information to students who are seeking information and may reach out to you as an expert. We all know that once a student starts practicing with us, they start to experience changes, physical, emotional, mental changes in their mind, body, spirit, and quite frankly, they get hungry for more information. So this educational content that you provide to them really keeps them going in the right direction on their journey. Students become extremely interested in finding out, why is this happening? Why am I sleeping better? Why am I feeling better? Why is my family more happy with me, right? Why are they telling me to go to yoga class? So they're seeking information, and so providing additional educational content is a great way to keep them interested in coming back. Another way that we can keep students really interested in what we're doing and the yoga process is to bi-monthly or monthly blogs. So if we like to write, I don't know about you, I'm not much of a blogger, but some people really are big bloggers and they want to share information. We have the ability to blog and enable an RSS feed on your blog so that students will know, they'll get a notification when you post something, they'll get a message that you posted something and they can tune back in. And well, I don't know about you, but I just said RSS and it's not a four-letter word, but it feels like it to me. And the reason is because it's technical. I'm a yoga teacher. And so the technical aspect sometimes can be a little intimidating. And that's why I partner with iMatrix, because I'm able to call them up and say, hey, I'm having a technical issue with my social media. I'm having a technical issue with a blog or a newsletter, and I can get some expert advice about how to solve my problem. And that makes it easy for me to put my attention on the things that I want to focus on, creating yoga classes, rather than the back-end strategies of running a yoga business. So just a little plug there for, I'm really happy with assistance that I can get from iMatrix. So if you have any questions technically, you'll want to check in at the end of this program and give them a call for an individual consultation. So another way that we can reach out to our students is through newsletters. And newsletters are sent out as emails, and it's a way to share interesting bits of information about your yoga practice or interesting topics that students might find helpful. And I want to give you just a couple bits of information that might be helpful to consider when constructing your newsletters. Most of us don't have an abundance of time that we can read and read and read. So we want to keep our newsletters short and on topic. We're so used to getting little bits and pieces, summaries really, where we can get an idea of where we're going and then have a link there. If you want to click and get additional information, you can go right to your website and provide even more in-depth information about that particular topic. So we want to make sure that our newsletters are short and written in a way that's easy for the students to follow. And let me tell you, I get really excited when I send a newsletter, and, well, I get a new student, rather, that comes into my studio, and I always ask, how did you hear about me? And they'll say oftentimes, well, so-and-so forwarded your newsletter. You had a topic on low back pain, and they knew that I was suffering with low back pain, and so they thought that I might be interested. And so this is one way that my reaching out to students through media maybe brought in a potential customer because they shared the newsletter. It makes it really easy for your current clients to share your information and spread the word about the services that you offer. Another interesting way that we can share information with our students is have a very robust, frequently asked questions page on your website. Why? Well, we were all beginners at one point. And I certainly remember when I started yoga, I was so excited about the practice, and I had a gazillion questions. I had so many questions, but I was rather shy and intimidated, and I didn't want to hold the teacher up at the end of class and inundate her with a million questions. So after my first few classes, I actually came home, got on the internet, started searching out yoga centers, and to read what do they have to offer? What is this yoga about? I thought I was going in for a workout, and all of a sudden my mind is calm. I had so many questions. And, you know, no surprise, everybody out there on the web has their different take on frequently asked questions. And let me tell you, if you really put some time and effort in your frequently asked questions, you can really educate a student in a way that is less intimidating for them. Once I went out and researched on my own and gathered information, then the few questions that I had, I didn't feel embarrassed or intimidated to approach that teacher and say, hey, I got this question. You know, I've done some homework, but I still don't understand this. So frequently asked questions is a great landing spot for your current students and potential students. Now, another way that we can reach out to students is how-to pages. And I'm going to admit a little secret here. My how-to pages are still in the paper form, but I'm working on it. So I basically have a page. And if you can picture with me, 8.5 by 11 page. And on that page, I've got a picture of Virabhadrasana 1, the Warrior 1. And I have my little lines, my little arrows pointing so we can get proper postural alignment. And, you know, while we teach in a class perfect alignment, a how-to gives us an opportunity to go in a little more depth or perhaps touch on some areas of the practice that we don't normally get into in a regular class. For instance, I can have a how-to page on Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1, and I can talk about chakras. What chakra is affected by Virabhadrasana 1? Well, the chakra for Virabhadrasana 1 is the third and the fourth chakra, right? Manipura and Anahata. And the secondary chakras that are affected are 1 and 2, Muladhara and Swadhisthana. And so I can dive in and provide a little deeper information so that students understand postures are not just a physical posture. There's energetic components as well. And also, I can, of course, have a how-to page, same posture, different angle. Pranavayus, where are we experiencing prana in the body? We can also talk about Ayurveda, where doshas are affected. Warrior 1, we know fire and air are activated, so that's Pitta and Vata, and earth is secondary. So if we have someone that's in Pitta overload, we might want to teach them how to modify this pose so they can create the middle path, right? So how-to pages just give us an opportunity to really dive in with more information for our students. And right now I'm handing them out, but I can tell you that after this webinar, I'll be contacting iMatrix so they can help me get these pages up on my website and make it a lot more convenient for future students. Another thing about how-to pages is, you know, each student that comes to us has a different ability to learn. Some people are auditory learners. They listen real well. They can practice with their eyes closed. And some students are visual, not that we want them looking around the room at everybody, but it happens because that's the way that they learn. And then others, like me, if I hear something 100 times, I may not get it. If I read it one time, it sticks. I'll never forget I have a teacher, and she told me, don't sacrifice the body for the glory of a pose. Don't sacrifice the body for the glory of a pose. She must have said it 100 times, but it's that one email that she sent to me that I read, and I thought, wait a minute, what does she mean? And I was able then, through that communication, to get in touch deeper with my practice. So don't forget that each student learns a different way. So those are some really great ways to reach out to provide additional educational content to current and future students. And another way is, the next slide, is to use email. Right? Email is a great way that we can stay in touch with our students. We can use email for giving announcements of a new class schedule if there are changes to our schedule. We can have announcements. I've got a workshop coming up on stress and anxiety, and I'd like you to participate. Here are the dates. So we can announce new workshops. We can announce teacher training programs. Occasionally, we have a new or a guest instructor that comes on board, and we can give a little bit of information about that teacher and send a link to our website where they can get additional information. Special offers, always a good idea. Students love to save money just like you and I, and so we have the ability to give them an offer. I'm offering 10% discount on yoga passes this month. I'm offering Christmas gift certificates for yoga workshops or yoga private lessons. I mean, it's almost endless, right? And then also, of course, when we have those loyal customers, those loyal students that keep coming back, we can give them a notice, hey, I noticed it's your birthday, happy birthday, or happy anniversary. Thank you so much for coming to our classes. We really appreciate you. Students like to know they're appreciated. Now, a couple side notes on emails. We want to make sure that we don't inundate them with emails. Just send one or two a month and feel it out, right? Because if we get too many, they'll practically opt out. They'll decide, maybe I don't want to receive all these emails because it turns into less of a family atmosphere and more of a buzzing atmosphere. So we only want to send emails when we really have something to say and it's not in overload. Also, do give your students an opportunity to opt in or opt out of emails, because some people, that might not be their mode of communication. They may decide that Facebook is a better way to stay in touch with their yoga peeps and their yoga classes. So that's another way, email, staying in touch. Let's see, the next thing that we are going to look at is social media. Social media has become such a major part of our lives these days, and especially in the yoga community. I'm happy to say that I've gotten the help from iMatrix to streamline and make my social media pages all consistent and pretty. I have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and a Google Plus page. And when you go to any one of my pages, they all look the same. It's similar. And when I managed it myself, it was not similar at all. I had a different picture here, a different picture there. And again, I admit it, I'm a yoga teacher, not a marketing guru. So it was very helpful for me to get help in streamlining and making these social media pages have the same look and feel. I also now use Google Plus to teach yoga classes. I teach private yoga lessons through Google Plus. And so when my students log in, they see my logo. It's almost like they're walking in my door. They see my door. They see, the studio. The Google Plus page is my front door now. And so I want them to feel comfortable and have some sort of recognition when they come in. And again, thanks to iMatrix, that's happened for me. So social media pages, a few things that we can know about social media, because we've got them all consistent. On Facebook, we can upload our current client list. And once we get that client list uploaded, we're able to reach out to our students through Facebook. And, oh gosh, what a nice, easy way, again, to be able to share information. We've got students, if you send a post, they're going to share it with their friends and family if they connect to it, right? And so that's just another really great way to get your name, your studio name, or your name out there for others to see. The more times individuals see your name, the more chances they're likely to come back and give you a call or drop into one of your classes. Another interesting thing on social media is when you create a post, An example, I created a post called From A to Z, a guide to yoga style. And that particular post, Facebook is really good about letting you know how many people you reached. That post reached 83 people. So my studio is quite small. It fits 10 students at one time. So when I reach 83 people, that's pretty good. And guess what? My private yoga classes, I teach more private classes than I do regular classes now, which is fantastic. So when we make a post like that, they share to friends, your name gets out there, they're interested, you might get someone that contacts you through Facebook. And again, building your opportunity for gathering more students. Another thing is, okay, I sent on another post. In that particular post, it was something like, if it doesn't nourish your soul, get rid of it. That went to 75 people. That's fantastic. So basically what I'm trying to say is, when you're posting, go back and look and see, who is it reaching? How many people is it reaching? How many times has it been shared? Because once you start to understand that sort of information, then you know you're either on track with your post or not. Very valuable information. So another thing with your posts, you want to make sure that you're not posting 100 times a day. How many of us have that on our news feed, right? You open up your news feed and you see that one person has posted 50,000 of their favorite links. It inundates your entire news feed. So you want to be smart about how many times you post so that people don't make that little click that says, hey, I only want to see a little bit of information from this studio or this person. So make sure that your posts are interesting, they're engaging, you're not posting too often, and keep an idea, keep a watch out on how many people you're reaching with your posts. And so those are some really good ways to utilize social media to build customer loyalty and retention. So let's move on now to the loyalty programs. Loyalty programs are awesome. You know, every business out there uses loyalty programs, and so why shouldn't we yogis? It's a really great idea if you have a student that's been around for a long time to give them a thank you, a reward for an anniversary. I've got some students that have been with me since day one, and that's a pretty long time. And so when their anniversary comes around, I'll give them, say, 3 passes, 3 free passes they can hand out to their friends or family and say, here's an opportunity to try a yoga class that you may not have ever heard of. And they love giving it. They feel like they're giving a gift. And they also feel like they're sharing part of a family. So loyalty programs are a really good way to keep your students interested in what you're doing and part of the family. I also do utilize special passes. I have a 10-punch card. And if you buy a card, a group of classes, it's less expensive than paying individually. So utilizing a punch card also then, it helps them commit to a little longer period of yoga as well. Some students, you know, they might drop in and then they get busy, but if they buy a special pass or a punch card, then they're making a bigger commitment to their yoga program. And that's something, of course, we all like to see. Also like to consider that if you refer a friend, the friend, you'll get some money off your next monthly pass, right? It's another offer that we can do because we want our students to share and get other people interested because, like I said, we're creating a community here. And so the more we can have, the better it will be. So loyalty programs go a long way in recognizing the students that you have, keeping them very interested in staying connected to what it is that you have to offer. And it makes it easy for your students to share what you're doing. So let's move on now to reputation management. Part of the student retention involves managing online reviews, right? We have reviews at Yelp, Google+, Insider Pages. And, you know, just because you haven't set up a page doesn't necessarily mean that they don't exist. Students can just go out to Yelp and create a review for you, which is really great. And so we want to make sure that you're monitoring these sites, you're checking in to make sure if there are any reviews, you claim them. You let You let those folks know that you're out there and you're the owner of that business, and then you want to respond to those reviews. So even if it's a bad review, we want to make sure that we have an opportunity to reply. So make sure that you're claiming the reviews that you get. And if you have additional questions on how to make sure you're claiming your reviews or you're going to the right place, it's a great opportunity for you to check in with iMatrix. Give them a call for that consultation to get some additional information on how you can make that happen. So let's talk about how do we get really good reviews, because I tell you they're so important. Do you ever go out and review other teachers, look and see what others are doing? I do. If I go to a class and I see a teacher and I like what they're doing, I want to see what is everybody saying. So I might go out and check it out. And sometimes there's not, could be a really good teacher, but there's no review. And I guess for me that's a little bit of a bummer, because when I go to a teacher and I see reviews and I see all sorts of people commenting, then I'm likely to refer that particular teacher. Or I'm likely to give that teacher a try because she got so many reviews and I really like what I'm reading. So I can't stress enough how important it is to get reviews. And, it's really quite easy. If you're teaching a class and at the end of the class you got that happy student that comes up and they say, hey, listen, I love this class. I felt so good. My back doesn't hurt anymore. It's a perfect opportunity to say, hey, if you're happy with our class, do you mind leaving me a review? So right there, right on the spot, you can ask them to leave you a review. You can email your students with a handy-dandy little link that says, you like the class? Leave us a review. Here's a link to my Facebook page. Here's a link to my website. Make it really easy and convenient for them so that they can get that review out there for you. I know that on Yoga Trail, I'm a yoga teacher out there, and I think I have probably some of the most the quantity of reviews, and I've got all different types of reviews: old students, young students, healthy students, students that have conditions, and so there's a wide variety. So pretty much anyone that goes out to take a look at what kind of teacher I am, you can get a pretty good idea through these reviews, right? Also, if students go to your website, and we're constantly driving students to our website, have a link there and say, can you please review my website? Have a sign in your studio. Did you love this class? If you love this class, please leave me a review. It helps so much to have those reviews out there. And I know it's hard to ask for them, but the more reviews you have, the more apt you are to start building your reputation out in the community and with new potential students. So once we get those students, we want to make sure they're happy and they're sharing. So, but let's see what happens. What happens if we have that student that comes into a class and they aren't really very happy? They didn't have a good experience. Perhaps it's a student that's relatively new to yoga and they dropped in on your intermediate vinyasa class and it's hot. And that student was looking for something because they're stressed out and they were looking for maybe a yin class or a restorative class. That student's not happy. And they go out on Yelp and they leave you a review and they say how terrible the class was because it was hot. It was crowded. It wasn't what they were looking for, right? So, this actually is still an opportunity to turn a bad situation into a good one. And the way that we do that, the way that we respond to these reviews, is first we want to make sure that we're speaking from the heart, right? If you consider speaking from the heart chakra as opposed to the throat chakra, we're going to address this problem or this issue sincerely. We want to make sure that the student understands, and the rest of the world that's reviewing your response, that, wow, you are sorry they had a bad experience. And we want to address the issue and acknowledge that they said they had a bad experience. It can happen. But there's also a solution or a potential solve for the problem. Wow, I'm sorry you dropped into my vinyasa class and it was too hot for you. However, did you know we have a restorative class and we have a yin class, and I'd like to offer you a free pass. Come on in, give us another try. There are so many different types of yoga, yoga teachers. and we're certain that we have something that will work for you. And so you can turn a potentially bad situation into a very good one, right? They're going to care that you replied, that it mattered. You might also offer a bigger solution, maybe a bigger discount off a monthly pass, right? But make sure that when you're talking to the student through email, through a review on a Yelp site or Google+, that you're sincere. And then provide contact information. Hey, if you have additional questions, you can call me. You can call me or you can email me. Email me, I'll give you my phone number, and we can go from there. And I want to make sure that, you know, we have an opportunity for you to have the best experience at our studio. And so this is the way that we can turn a negative review into a positive one. Next slide, please. So our goal is to retain the students that come in the door because we know that it costs us more money to get new students than it does to retain the students that come in. So build relationships with them. You know, reach out to them, share educational content, email them, keep them abreast of things that are going on in your students. Encourage them to spread the word. Happy students typically spread the word, but it doesn't hurt to say, hey, if you like what you're doing here, please share all the information that you have so that we can build this community together. And so just in a nutshell is how we can retain students and build our reputation in the yoga community. And I'd like to take a second, if you have, to open this floor up to questions. So here we would answer any questions that the students have regarding this webinar. And again, after the question and answer session, I want to make sure that everyone understands that iMatrix is available for a one-on-one consultation. And gosh, give them a call, ask questions. An informed yogi is a smart yogi. And quite frankly, it's a lot easier to build your brand and your name with help from others than it is to try to go alone. I know for years I tried to do this on my own. And finally, when I reached out and got some technical help, I'm finding that my studio is booming. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm able to do the things that I do, but I'm not doing it alone. So we very much appreciate your time today, listening in on this webinar. And if you have any questions, please call us. It's been a pleasure to share with you. And have a wonderful day. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Trionne. That was an awesome presentation. Again, if anyone is interested, we're going to go ahead and send this out to anyone that has registered. If you weren't able to make it, no worries. Again, we'll also have it available from our website as well soon, but we will make sure to send these out to anyone prior to that, and we'll email you a link. That way you can go ahead and get the webinar recording from there. So again, like Trionne mentioned, if you have any questions, if you'd like to have any kind of assistance or help like she has had for her studio, feel free to give us a call, 1-800-iMatrix. We're more than happy to have one of our consultants give you a one-on-one strategy session and kind of go through the steps and any kind of questions that you may have. So again, I want to say thank you for presenting for us. It was awesome and very educational, and hopefully everyone has a wonderful day.